Hi, good morning, George Washington School families. Today we are going to talk about topics related to English that are in your English guide. Today we are going to talk about three specific topics. We are going to talk about how many and how much. We are going to talk about daily routines. And finally, we are going to talk about um, adverbs or frequency. We are going to start with our first topic, how many and how much. Okay, we have how many. How many is used when we want to know the quantity of something. It is only used with plural countable nouns. How many plus plural noun. That means that you use how many only with countable nouns, things that you can count. For example, how many cars are there in your garage? In my garage, there are 2 cars. That means that the cars are countable. You can count the cars. 1 car, 2 cars, 3 cars, 4 cars. Okay? Now we are going to see how much. How much is used with uncountable nouns. How much plus uncountable noun. How much water is there in that glass? In that glass, there is some water. That means that water is uncountable. In English, the water is uncountable. You can count the water. And for example, also the drinks. All the drinks are uncountable. Soda, water, juice, the milk are uncountable nouns. We are going to continue with this activity. This is the first activity of the first English guide. Says, look and answer the following questions with the words in the box. We have the words a few, there are a lot, none, and there are a few. And I am going to explain first what is a few, a lot, and none. A few, you use a few with countable and plural. That means that few refers to poco, que hay algo, pero muy poco. A lot, countable and uncountable plural. A lot refers to much. Quiere decir que hay algo, mucho de algo. And non-countable and uncountable, that is not any. None, que no hay nada. For example, a few like the blueberries. As you can see in the picture, blueberries are few. Como aparece en el ejemplo, blueberries, pocas. A lot, for example, the green peppers, que hay muchos. And none, like the bananas. Como pueden ver, no hay ninguna. Entonces, none, que no hay nada. With the words a few, there are a lot, none, and there are a few, you have to complete the exercise A, B, C, and D. For example, A, how many blueberries are there? There are a few. ¿Cuántas mora azul hay? Hay pocas. And that's the way that you have to complete B, C, and D. We are going to continue with countable and uncountable nouns. On exercise D from the workbook, English workbook, we have countable and uncountable. I am going to explain what is countable. Countables are things that you can count. For example, you can count the apple. Apples are countable. 1 apple, 2 apples, 3 apples. But uncountable like the salt, la sal. You can count the salt. In the first, you can say salt. The salt is uncountable. Apples are countable. The rice is uncountable. You can't count the rice. House countable, 1 house, 2 houses. Balls countable, 1 ball, 2 balls, 3 balls. Milk is uncountable. Sugar, and countable. Cats are countable. You can count the cats. 1 cat, 2 cats, 3 cats. And the breath, el pan, you can't count the breath. In English, you can count the breath. El pan es incontable. And finally, books are countable. 1 book, 2 books, 3 books. Okay. Now we are going to talk about daily routine. What is a daily routine? A routine is like a habit or sequence that doesn't vary. For example, I always study. For example, the kids always study. From Monday to Friday, you study. It's an activity that you say the most of the days. That you do, the most of the days. For example, your parents, they always work. Ellos siempre trabajan. Okay, we are going to see some examples. For example, wake up. Mike always wakes up at 5 o'clock. Get up. Mike usually gets up at 5:30. Take a shower. Mike normally takes a shower. Brush my hair. Mike generally brushes his hair. Get dressed. Mike always gets dressed. And have breakfast. Mike frequently has breakfast. As you can see, wake up, get up, take a shower, brush my hair, get dressed, and have breakfast are activities that you do all the days. Actividades que hacen todos los días, con normalidad. Okay, we are going to talk about our final topic, that is adverbs or frequency. What is an adverb or frequency? We use some adverbs to describe how frequently we do an activity. These are called adverbs or frequency. As you can see in the picture, we have always, 100%, and the example is I always wake up at 6 o'clock. Siempre me levanto a las 6 de la mañana. 90%, usually. I usually come home after work. Usualmente vengo a casa después del trabajo. 80%, normally and generally. I normally swim after school. Normalmente nado después de la escuela. 70%, often, frequently. I often spend Christmas with friends. Frecuentemente paso Navidades con mis amigos. 50%, sometimes. I sometimes play tennis on the weekend. Algunas veces juego tenis el fin de semana. 30%, occasionally. I occasionally eat Vietnamese food. Entonces, ocasionalmente como comida vietnamita. 10%, that is seldom. I seldom go to the library. Entonces, rara vez voy a la biblioteca. 5%, rarely. I rarely listen to the radio. Entonces, raramente escucho la radio. 0%, never. I never listen to rock music. Nunca escucho música. We are going to talk about this exercise on page 34 from your English workbook. You have this exercise, and the exercise is answer the questions using the adverbs of frequency. Always, usually, often, sometimes, rarely, and never. You have to see the color of the bar and you have to answer. For example, in the first exercise, you have, how often do you read a book? ¿Con qué frecuencia lees un libro? If you see the bar is colored with blue, but is one chart white. Entonces, quiere decir que la barra está casi totalmente coloreada, pero falta un cuadro está en blanco. That means that in the first is usually is 90%. Quiere decir que el adverbio de frecuencia que va ahí es usualmente, porque es el 90%. No es siempre, porque la barra no está coloreada un 100%. Second, how often does Helen go to the cinema? ¿Con qué frecuencia Helen va al cinema? Al cine. As you can see in the bar is color until the middle of the bar, is color for charge. That means that is some time because it's 50%. Como pueden ver en la barra 2, está coloreado hasta la mitad. Hay 4 cuadros coloreados de naranja y 4 cuadros en blanco. Quiere decir que es un 50%. Si nos devolvemos al ejercicio anterior, 50% es sometimes. 3. How often does Joe go to bed late? ¿Con qué frecuencia Joe se acuesta tarde? As you can see, the bar is totally white. That means that is never because the bar is totally white. Como se pueden dar cuenta, la barra está totalmente en blanca. Quiere decir que nunca hace esa actividad, nunca se acuesta temprano. Es 0%, es 0%, entonces never. Ahí en la línea debemos escribir never. And the last one example, 4. How often do you do your homework? As you can see, the bar is totally colored by green. That means that is always because the bar is totally colored. El número 4, ¿con qué frecuencia haces tú la tarea? Si se dan cuenta, la barra está totalmente coloreada de verde, quiere decir que siempre haces la tarea, porque se dan cuenta que todos los cuadros están coloreados. And that's the way that you have to answer 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. You have to answer in that way. Only write the adverb frequency in front of the sentence. Solo escribimos el adverbio de frecuencia enfrente de cada oración. Si es siempre, usualmente, frecuentemente, raramente o nunca, según los cuadros que estén coloreados en cada ejercicio. And okay, that's all for today. I hope that you can enjoy this video. And no more. Bye bye. See you. God bless.